Hey everyone, my name is Jane, and the cross-gender leisure activity that I participated in was an MMO game. Now, before you guys go, huh? What did she say? I want to give you a few examples because you may have actually heard of them or may have participated in them. First off is World of Warcraft. This game is very important because it started the popularity of MMO games. Then there are some that are not as popular but are still heavily populated with players, like the Guild Wars series, and Terra. But I didn't choose any one of these three. I chose, drumroll please, Celtic Heroes, because the sword reminded me of Excalibur. Now, let's take a deeper look on what an MMO game really is. MMO actually means Massive Multiplayer Online Game. And then this is the definition I got from Techopedia.com. A massively multiplayer online game, or MMOG, refers to video games that allow a large number of players to participate simultaneously over an internet connection. These games usually take place in a shared world that the gamer can access after purchasing or installing the game software. The explosive growth in MMOGs has prompted many game designers to build online multiplayer modes into many traditionally single-player games. Now, this really means that the players of these games actually have the chance to almost play internationally because they are able to connect with people that are playing with this game. And remember, the game is not limited to only where you're from. There's actually no limit to it. As long as you have an internet connection, you're able to play this game, which means people from China, people from Russia, people from all over the world can play this game. And then that's what it provides. It provides you a game where you can play in the comfort of your own living room but meet people all over the world. Now, some history on the subject. The first MMO game was created in the year 1975. But keep in mind that the internet connection from the year 1975 until just a couple years ago was very slow. Yes, almost like snail speed. And also remember that the first wireless connection was not built until the year 1991. And just to add on to the nightmare, that was a cell phone from the year 1975. And smartphones wouldn't come for another several years. So add all of these negatives up and you should get a not so popular type of software. And yes, that is an unhappy child playing that game. And this was probably why MMO games weren't played as much then than now. The MMO game was reintroduced in the year 2001 and was not put into the limelight until the year 2004 when World of Warcraft was released. And from then, the variety of MMO games and the amount of players only increased. This is Ben Baker, and Ben Baker is a doctoral student and lifelong gamer. The reason for Ben's appearance is that he recently did a study on the experiences of female gamers in the gaming world. And in an article that could be found on phys.org, Ben stated, video games have historically been steeped in hypermasculine culture. And he also said that games have been developed by men and marketed to men. This tells us that from the start, the intended audience for such games were men. So it really shouldn't be a surprise that women or females just caught on a little later. In today's time, the gaming world is much diverse with regards to age, ethnicity, and gender. The gaming world has gotten exponentially larger. Now, I'll let you take the chance to guess how many were recorded in 2013. If you guessed, let's say, 628 million players, then I guess you're right. Because according to newzoo.com, 628 million players from around the world were recorded playing MMO games. And given the fact that MMOGs have just increased in popularity, the number of players has most likely grown as well. Coming from the same source but using a different website, Newzoo says that out of the 628 million players around the world, 40 million players come from the United States. And from these 40 million players, 40% are recorded to be females. Now, if you take 40% of 40 million, you would still get 16 million players. And that's still a lot in my opinion. Now, few, if not some of these players have reported there to be issues and conflicts regarding gender in the gaming world. Many say that men dominate the gaming world in numbers, but I found a few articles stating otherwise. The first article I found was from PC Gamer titled Researchers Find Female PC Gamers Outnumbered Males. The second title is More Women Now Play Video Games Than Men from Independent. And then the third more women play RPGs and PC games than men from MCV, which is a marketing website for computers and video games. My opinion is going to be based on my experience. And when I played Celtic Heroes, I didn't find as many female players as I wanted to. Other issues include cyberbullying. Do you remember Ben? Ben Baker? Yeah, that's him right there. Do you remember what his study was about? It was about him recording experience of female gamers in the gaming world. And one of the very negative things that came with being a female gamer was the harassment some people had to go through. One player from his study even wrote that male players will sometimes be very rude and inappropriate in general chat channels, making comments about things like rape, or for instance, or racial comments. Another explained how some sort of groping happened, and the worst was the real life stalking someone had to go through. I guess that in some ways, women are still considered as dominated by men in the game world, even if the number of male players and female players are not so far apart. Men have always been generally accepted to be stronger than women, not only in physical activities but also in intellectual ones, like the ones that deal with computers. A Radford University student wrote that video games have long been known as male dominated media, including in the terms of market audience, player base, and character representation in games. Findings for gender representation in video games generally support past findings in that males are significantly more represented than females. In this same article, the student also writes that men and women are depicted differently: physical abilities, role in the game, and physical representation in terms of body and attire. And in the next couple of pictures, you'll see that she's right. Women show more cleavage, women show more skin than men. It's highly unlikely that you see a woman not showing more than a little bit of skin. So let me just guess that in order for these female characters to do something that is generally accepted to be a man's job, they have to look extra feminine? So, is this female apologetic? In order for females to be accepted into this gaming world, they have to be dressed in more or less bras, skirts, or dresses. Now, before I start sounding biased or negative, I just want to make it clear that the feminine clothes are nice and very appealing. My only question is why they have to be so appealing. And this is probably one of the reasons why I was never really interested in games like this. It's because most of the advertisements that have these women appeal only to men. Another reason is that I always thought that it was just another violent game, and I really had no interest in them. In this article, video games male prefer violence while females prefer social, supports my claim perfectly, as well as this statistical graph that I found from Washington Post that was made by Newzoo, which says that males are more attracted to games like Halo, World of Warcraft, and Call of Duty, while females are more attracted to Wii Sports, Candy Crush, and Just Dance. So now when all of this is added up, did the game challenge me? Honestly, at first, it did, because I was trying to familiarize myself with it. But I'll show you this video of me in my first few attempts at this game. As you see, it's really straightforward, and the game tells you what to do. It's just really a matter of patience in achieving quests that were given to you. Like when Aaron was trying to get me to get some torches or for the Flamebringers. From my experience, I could say that male's idea of leisure comes with a lot of waiting. It's not all violence, but really hard thinking and really, really long waiting. I guess I would play again, but the real question is, how long would I last? I have a really short attention span, and this game needs a lot of your attention. So I give props to all players that have reached such high levels because I know that took a lot of work.